What is going on, everybody? Nick Gaschler back again for another 2022 film session, another long-term one, and if this is going to be a super long one, so I encourage you to stick around. Today we're going to be taking a look at Nakobe Dean, and we're going to be taking a look at Devin Lloyd, and I'm going to try and dissect this narrative that I'm about to present to you, and just go through the tape and tell you why I feel like Nakobe Dean is miles ahead of Devin Lloyd. And this starts because the big-time draft analysts are ranking Devin Lloyd in the top 10, and other people are ranking Devin Lloyd in the top 10 and having him as a top 5 prospect. I'm not with that, man. I watch Devin Lloyd and I get it. I can see why people like him. He's athletic. He's good in coverage. But Nakobe Dean is so much better for so many different reasons that he doesn't really compare to Devin Lloyd in any way, shape, or form. So without further ado, let's get into it. Again, this is going to be a long one. I'll try and put timestamps in the video, so make sure to check those out upon the different topics that I'm going to be covering in this video. So we're looking at linebackers, a couple things to keep in account in how I consider a successful linebacker's instincts. I consider coverage play. I consider instincts, coverage play, pursuit angles, and overall just like being able to be physical and shed blocks and whatnot. And these two players are both similar and different in each of these aspects, and I'm going to attempt to show you why. First off, we're just going to start off with the quintessential play from each prospect. This is Nakobe Dean first. He's going to be right here, and we're going to see a really good job of him being able to use his instincts, which is his strong suit, as well as his athleticism and finishing ability to come finish this play. As we get into it here. Here he is, number 17, right? We're going to wait for it to load. Here we go. So he sees the run right here. So 24 is going to come out. It's going to be a fake toss. Nakobe Dean sees the run, stops short when he sees it go the other way. Levis, number 7, is going to come back into coverage. He does a good job of dropping back into coverage and then coming up, seeing the play as a check down to number 24. Then he comes up, fills with that pursuit. Just a really good job of being able to read that play pretty quickly, not get caught up on anything or not get caught up on these misdirections, and be able to come in and make a play. That is a quintessential Nakobe Dean play. You see that a lot in his tape. You see the instincts, you see the athleticism, and you see the finishing ability. Number 24 thinks he's cute and thinks he's going to run through Nakobe Dean, and I'm going to tell you right now that's not going to happen. He's going to put up a hard point and allow his other Georgia defenders to get there and finish the play with him. It's just a really good Nakobe Dean play. And Nakobe Dean, people mock him because he's small, but I look at his frame and it's better than Devin Lloyd's. He may not be as tall as Devin Lloyd, but it's definitely better than Devin Lloyd, and that's why I like Nakobe Dean so much for what he's able to do right here with being able to stop on a dime, change directions like that. Good linebacker play, good Nakobe Dean play. Next up, we have our Devin Lloyd quintessential play. Devin Lloyd is going to be number 0 right here. He comes off the edge a lot, which is pretty interesting. Utah runs him as an inside linebacker for the most part, but sometimes, like I said, he can go into an outside look and he can go into these on-the-line type plays. Devin Lloyd is super inconsistent with his instincts, and I'm going to tell you, I think it's because he doesn't trust his reads. He gets his reads, he sees his reads, and he's going to be able to move to his reads, but he does not trust them, and that's why I think he struggles here. Let's watch this play. It's just going to be a screen outside to the outside receiver right here. Lloyd keeps his eyes inside. We notice that first off right here, as he's the inside guy. So he's going to keep his eyes inside. See this fake toss right here, which has him moving this way to get a pursuit angle on this running back as he's going down the field. But then he reads the other way and is able to turn his hips, use his athleticism, change of direction ability to get over there. Doesn't come up and make the tackle like Nakobe Dean did, but he does a good job of being able to read the play, turn and process, and be able to get there. And that's not something he does a great job of all the time, but it kind of shows off the inconsistency. He's a little slow to process it, but he does a good job of doing it as a whole and is able to use his athleticism to get over to the other side of the field. That's a tough run from the middle of the field to maybe almost to the numbers, a little bit past the far hash, and he does so pretty quickly and with good speed. I just like the processing to pick up a little bit here. So now as we begin to get into instincts, it's going to be a longer section of the video because I feel like there's a lot of plays that I have to cover for each prospect to show off how they feel their instincts are. And for me, instincts are the most important part of linebackering because if you can feel and sniff out a play, you have a really good chance of being able to stop it. And we see this right off the bat here with Nakobe Dean. Number 17 right here. Let's just watch the play first and see what happens, right? Amazing. amazing. And I'm going to show it from the cartel view. Again, number 17, he's playing as the Mike. He gets the snap. It's a play action fake. He doesn't bite on he kind of bites on the fake, but he knows where it's going. Because watch what happened to these linemen and where Nakobe Dean goes right after he sees these linemen, right? He sees the lineman and the running back pop out, and he's going to be the first person over there, right? He's coming all the way downhill, sheds a block, and is going to be able to be right there against number 24 to be able to stop the screen. That is a quintessential, I wish I put this in as my quintessential play. I put it in instincts because I felt it was better show of his instincts. But this is a great play to be able to read that the linemen are going up and then reacting. Oh, linemen are going upfield. It's definitely a screen. I'm going to get over to the running back and be able to make a stop. That's my assignment. I'm not going to let that sit there. Gets through the blocks, gets through the traffic, and makes a very forceful tackle. Just one of my favorite plays, I think, from a linebacker I've ever seen. And that's a really good job of just using instincts. One of my favorite plays. And we transition to Devin Lloyd. And we're going to see why he struggles to process and struggles with the instincts and why I grade his instincts low. This is a very Micah Parsons-esque play. We saw this a lot with Micah Parsons in college. It's going to be a play action, read option type deal with 42 coming up the field. 42's looks like he's going to fill inside, so Anthony Brown, the quarterback, is going to pull it and run. Lloyd reads inside. I'd rather have him sit there, wait for it. It's very obviously a read option. If this tackle blocks down, it's 10 times out of 10 likely going to be a read option unless there's a puller coming back the other way. Lloyd needs to figure out how to read that and then move outside and be the contained player here. 42 is not going to be, because he's the closest linebacker to this, right? He's not the front side linebacker, or he's not the front side linebacker on this side. He's the front side linebacker on this side. He needs to be able to flow and then flow back out to go get 13 instead of just going so hard into his read and trying to stop this run where he has no clear pathway, right? You see all this we call this trash, right? There's a double team, there's another double team. Number one has a clear pathway to the running back. There's no cutback lane here for the running back to get through. Lloyd doesn't need to cover that. He needs to flow back outside and make sure 13 is kept under wraps, and he doesn't do that. And that's one of my big issues with Devin Lloyd, is he struggles to process plays like that. And these next two plays are great mirrors of each other and how each other play. Watch this play with Nakobe Dean right here. He's going to mirror the running back. The running back takes the cutback because he gets his primary path gets blown up. Dean does a really good job of flowing this to this side, the same way Devin Lloyd will do in the next clip. So he flows to try and mirror the running back, and when he realizes that the running back has nowhere to go, he's going to end up flowing back, cutting through, and being able to hit this running back head on. If 41 doesn't come in and make a play, which salute to 41 for being able to come in and make a play here, Dean is going to be able to square this guy up and hit him for a loss of yardage the same way 41 did. Just a really good job of being able to see through this traffic and being able to read where this running back is going and then come up to make a stop. Same play. Lloyd is your number 0 linebacker right here, and they're pretty much the exact same spot Dean was in the other play. We're going to see almost the exact same thing where 21 is going to cut back up to the backside gap here. Lloyd does a really good job of moving to the side where the running back is going, right? He's going to fill this gap right here where he's going. But then he just doesn't process quick enough that the running back takes the cutback and isn't able to mirror and be able to meet him in that gap to make the tackle. And sure, the double team got up in his face and in his heels. That happens, but you have to, like the way Nakobe Dean did, you have to be able to move through traffic and see through traffic if you're going to be a top linebacker and be able to go make this play. Again, I get that he over pursues a little bit, right? So he should ideally be right there, which kind of opens up for 74 to go get him, but he does the best he can, but then he's going to need to be able to shift back over quicker and be able to get to 21 quicker. Again, just these two plays really mirror each other really well. That's why I wanted to show them side by side and to show you that Lloyd just doesn't process quick enough or isn't able to be quick enough to get off this block with the instincts that he does have to be able to go make that play on 21. Because if he makes the play on 21, the play's over right here. Instead, the play ends up over like right there. Again, you like to see better from your inside linebacker. We're going to see Lloyd again right here. Oregon's going to be running an outside zone concept, so this whole side of the line is going to come this way and try and hook people. Lloyd doesn't recognize that at all and is just going to allow himself to get hooked. He doesn't even really blitz this gap. The gap is wide open. If he's going to go at 100%. Instead, he just pauses here and doesn't read where his block is going, which is something he should probably be doing if he's on the defensive line here. I know that's not his position, but if he's going to be on the defensive line, he should probably be reading his block rather than the running back. He doesn't do that, and in that case, like, his block is so obviously a hook block. I mean, this tight end doesn't really hide it or anything. He's already out, and he's already twisted his hips to try and hook him right here, and he successfully does so because Lloyd doesn't read the play, and isn't able to, like, defend or try and shift around that and push to the outside. Like, if you're getting hooked right here, you want to do your best to keep that shoulder square and push outside, because it's going to lure the running back inside where you have more help. Instead, Lloyd stays on the inside and is just going to get taken right out of this play by this tight end because he doesn't read the play well enough and recognize that it's a hook block and is able to come back. These are like the little things that I just want to see him improve in. The processing right here, the football IQ skill set that you need to be able to read these blocks before you read where the running back is going, because the blocks are going to take you to the running back, as this one would have. Back to Nakobe Dean. He's going to be able to right here kind of combat that and be able to read the blocks and then move to the flow of the football and end up driving this tackle back. Lloyd is fine as a tackler. I don't see a lot of problems with him as a tackler, but Dean is an excellent tackler. And this is a good reason why. So he's going to come down, right? He's going to come down and try and fill this gap. And then he notices that the play is going outside, so he's going to move outside, right? He's watching this running back the whole time. His eyes move with his body, or his body moves with his eyes, so as his eyes moves, he takes his body wherever he needs to go. He's able to kind of just shift through the trash and the traffic right here, and then again, let's see the drive, right? He's going to be there, and he's going to push that running back, and we'll see it from the backside view here. Again, able to read it. When he sees the running back going this way, you can already see his body start to turn, and he's going to be able to push down this guard and get in there, go super low, right? We see he's tackling at the hip or the knee. That's super preferable, and is going to be able to push this guy back and stop him. Just a really good job playing and reading the instincts and reading through traffic from Nakobe Dean. I like that play a lot. Moving on to pass rush and how each linebacker is able to affect the pass with their ability to shoot gaps or edge rush from the edge. Nakobe Dean this is a great job of being able to shoot gaps. I think Nakobe Dean is one of the best gap shooters in this draft class. And we're just going to see him be able to get off the block and get to the quarterback. Just automatic. So we're going to see him start to move up. He times the blitz up really well. That's super underrated quality to have in a linebacker. He knows he's going. The defensive coordinator has called it at this point, so he knows he's running. There's no option to it or anything like that. He knows he's going to go blitz, so he's going to time it up to the snap and be able to catch this guard off guard once the snap hits, and he's going to be able to use his speed that he's already kind of built up and kinetic energy to be able to push through this guard and get to the quarterback. Good bend at the end there. Just really everything you want to see, and just the aggression that he takes up when he takes on this block. Just really everything you love to see when you're looking to blitz gaps. A great play from Nakobe Dean. I love that effort, and I love that ability to time the blitz up and really make a play. And when Devin Lloyd blitzes, he blitzes primarily from the edge in a wide 9 or even a 5 tech. And he's not a bad blitzer. He's just not the blitzer that Nakobe Dean is. Again, he does everything that Nakobe Dean does. He just doesn't do it as well as Nakobe Dean does it, which is why Nakobe Dean is linebacker 1 over Devin Lloyd. We're going to see this here. He's going to come off. Does a decent-ish job of being able to kind of slip that block and put pressure on the quarterback. The quarterback's literally scared. He's going to run out of the pocket. But Lloyd, I mean, I'd like to see him do a better job of getting off that block, and we'll see Nakobe Dean do it really well in a minute. But this isn't terrible. I can take this, especially if you're putting pressure on the quarterback. Wide 9 stance. I think his get-off kind of gets screwed up because he's ready to go, and then he has to stop himself right there. But if he's able to get a good get-off, he's probably able to beat this tackle off the line and then not have to get pushed down by him. Still a really good job of being able to be physical and create pressure right there. I don't hate that at all. And while Devin Lloyd did a decent job, this is what I want to see. We're going to see Nakobe Dean times the snap up, gets up, and puts the pressure on the quarterback. Really good job, just as a whole, of being able to kind of step up, time his blitz. It's not obvious that he's coming, but it's kind of implied by the way he's stepping up like that, creeping up. And then he's going to be able to get to the edge, bend, get underneath number 70 Darian Kinnard's pads, and be able to beat him that way. Pushes Levis up into the pressure, and he's going to have to make a harder throw to make because he's in the pressure from the interior. Great job from Nakobe Dean here again for being able to pass rush. We see that shoulder dip. That's a super important part of this rep. We're going to see it right there. Good shoulder dip. He's going to be able to get underneath Kinnard and be able to bend to the quarterback. Great job from rushing from the edge there. He's not going to be asked to do it a ton, more primarily within the B gaps. But as a whole, I mean, you can't really ask for much more from there outside of the finish and the sack. And as we transition to the coverage portion of the video, coverage vocabulary word number 1 for linebackers is the hard deck. And when I explain the hard deck, it's when you drop into coverage as a linebacker, you're going to be in zone coverage, most of the time at least. Your hard deck is probably 10 to 15 yards, and that sounds about right here. His hard deck is really like right here and right here. And Nakobe Dean does a good job of being able to get work back to his hard deck. I believe it's on the 25. Yep. He's not really going to be asked to pass the 25-yard line because that's not where he's concerned about. Maybe it's even like the 22 or the 23. Either way, he does a really good job of progressively working over to his hard deck, moving past the ref and being able to follow the quarterback's eyes and then move. Good coverage rep. I didn't include a ton of coverage reps just because Nakobe Dean is so solid in it. But this is a good example of him being able to progressively work back, stay aware. He's looking around where the receivers are, diagnosing what he needs to do to make this play successful. Shows us that he's going to be a really good coverage linebacker on the next level, and then he's able to hit his hard deck and not have to worry about going any further back and then flow to the football. Now, Devin Lloyd right here. I think this is one area where Devin Lloyd potentially has the edge on Nakobe Dean in terms of how well he does it. He's going to be your mic right here. Does a good job of first noticing that this tight end is up and a 2-point stance is likely going to be running a route. Lloyd is going to first watch his eyes, watch his helmet as he turns inside. He's going to notice this tight end. You can see his face mask kind of move this way, so he has the tight end in his peripheral. He's breaking inside on a route, so he's going to push over to it. And then once he feels the tight end moving inside, he's going to kind of follow him until he sees this other backer. So he's going to pass, or running back, excuse me. So he's going to pass the tight end to this next zone and then take up this running back and make sure he's covered. That's excellent coverage, and that's really all you can ask. That's a tough play to make. Teams do that against coverage to try and confuse linebackers and have them in the wrong places at the wrong time, so you could potentially hit one right here and then be able to get upfield or get yards after catch this way or this way. Lloyd does a good job of being able to have that inside leverage and then transfer it over to the other zone, the tight end over to the other zone. And then ultimately to 26 right here. Just a really good coverage rep, really solid as a whole, and that's why I really feel that Devin Lloyd's a little bit better than Nakobe Dean in coverage. And again, with Lloyd here, you're going to see the coverage upside, and this is why I love him in coverage. He's just going to drop back in his zone. His hard deck is probably about the 40, but he's going to stay there and notice that this receiver's kind of ran a hitch into him, into his zone, so he's going to come up a little bit. He sees the quarterback and is just going to be able to undercut that route. Athleticism, speed, that's an easy touchdown for Devin Lloyd there. Just really good job. And he does this a lot on tape. You're going to see him be able to undercut routes, create pass breakups, create interceptions. This is just probably the best example of his, of being able to read where that ball is going, undercut it, and make that interception. That's a really good NFL type coverage play and good interception from Lloyd to get down the field and make that score. So now let's talk about pursuit angles, and pursuit angles are very important for a linebacker. We saw it with Nakobe Dean earlier when he had to undercut that route, or that he was the backside linebacker and he had to flow around and then charge with that tackle. We're going to see it here again. He does a really good job with his speed and athleticism here. He's going to step forward because it's a play action. He's going to read run, and then he's going to read pass. He's going to sit here to make sure he knows what the quarterback is doing before he drops deep into coverage. It's a screen, so he's going to read the screen. He sees the quarterback's eyes get over, and he's going to bust his ass over to the sideline, but also take an angle to where if this receiver isn't tackled, he's going to be right here to make him get out of bounds. Just a great angle from Nakobe Dean. He knows how to take these pursuit angles. Notice that he's not running directly at the receiver. He's running to a spot where he knows the receiver is going to be. Good anticipation, good speed. He's able to get over there pretty quickly. I like that overall from Nakobe Dean, and he's really good with his pursuit angles. And on the other hand, you have Devin Lloyd, who is wishy-washy with his pursuit angles. We'll just say that. And this is a decent example of it. He's going to be the front side linebacker. They're running zone, outside zone again. And he just, like, again, I don't know what he's doing. Obviously, you see him come here. I guess, like, if his assignment is to fulfill the inside gap, that's fine. And he ends up finishing this play pretty well. He ends up coming back. Good pursuit. And good and when I say pursuit, I don't mean the angle that he takes. I mean the effort that he puts in and the motor that he puts in to come in and make this play. He's able to finish that play off. But, again, I just don't understand why he's backdooring this. I'd prefer to have him work outside. So you have this defensive end who's going to get trapped inside, but you still have this linebacker coming down. That'll be a one-on-one block with his puller. And then you're going to have Devin Lloyd here, who, if he's continuing to flow over the top, he's one-on-one with his running back. And if he takes outside in, so he's moving outside in here, so he's moving outside to force the running back inside. He does a decent job of, like, doing that at first, but then he just backdoors it, and I don't really understand why he backdoors that. That might be a scheme thing, and if that is the case, that's not on him, I guess, but it's just a pretty confusing play. Does a good job of being able to duck over that block and get behind this block, but I would just like to see him, like, instead of attacking the ball, like we talked about how Nakobe Dean, instead of attacking the ball on that last play, he ran to a spot. He kind of attacks the ball here and is going to miss it pretty big time until he's able to come back and make that play. And he makes that play with motor. He doesn't make that play with a good pursuit angle. He makes that play with motor and want and drive to get to the football. But again, I just like the backdooring. I don't love. There's a couple other things that I don't love about his pursuit angles. Finally, we're going to talk about block shedding before we get into my conclusion. Nakobe Dean's probably biggest weakness for me is his block shedding ability, and this is a decent play that kind of shows that. He's going to be moving to the outside here. Good job of being able to drop back into coverage, but he doesn't get off this block. He kind of gets bullied a little bit, if I'm being honest. Number 51 is able to get hands on him, get that inside leverage to push him outside, and Nakobe Dean tries to work, and he does a good job of working and stuff, but he just doesn't get out of the back that block quick enough. He comes back and ultimately is able to make that play, but I'd like him to shift under that block or undercut it and be able to attack from this side and be able to sink beneath that block and attack from the outside hip rather than have to make a spin move and allow a couple extra yards here up the field. Dean, again, like I said, he doesn't do it like when he gets attached to blocks, he is able to get off. He just isn't able to get off too quick, and that's not what I love. That's not what I love to see. I'd rather see him be able to get off the block quicker, and then go make a tackle. And this is an interesting play from Lloyd. When he sheds blocks, he's not like terrible with it, but he isn't great with it by any means. This is a good read for Lloyd. I'll give him that. He reads this counter play, and he's able to come in and make a stop. And sometimes you got to be the sacrificial lamb, man. He first off, he over pursues, so he's way too far in his gap, but he does a good job of correcting it. So we're going to see these two blockers pull. That's a pretty classic sign of counter. But so he over pursues to this gap. He knows where the play is going. The gap opens up like it looks like the Red Sea parting. And he over pursues it, so he's over this side. But he does a good job of understanding that he needs inside leverage here. So number one is able to come fill this part of the gap, and he does a good job of moving inside. He sort of gets off the block. He's able to split the two. Not amazing technique, right? Like, I don't want you to have one hand on one blocker and one hand on the other blocker, and trying to beat him that way, because that's just not really efficient. But he's able to be the sacrificial lamb here, but also get some chops that he needed. So decent job of being able to get off the block. He doesn't do it all the time, but he's decent at being able to avoid it. When the linemen get their hands on him, it's hard for him to get off, just because his frame is a little small. We talked about how bulky Nakobe Dean is. Devin Lloyd looks more like a corner or a safety. I think he actually was a converted safety, believe it or not, but a decent job of being able to read and be able to fill that gap. I like the correction there, but I'd like him to take on one blocker rather than two and stuff that play. And just because I don't want to judge a prospect off of one play, if I want to show more to prove that I'm feeling this way. And this is why I don't feel like Nakobe Dean is a consistent at getting off the block. We're going to see that here against a tight end. So he reads well. He gets kind of trapped inside, but he just gets slowed down. If he's going to take a direct angle, I'd like him to try and be able to blow this blocker up or go underneath him on this outside hip and fill right here, rather than getting caught up on the block and then having to adjust his pursuit angle more upfield. Not great from Dean. Again, like I said, when he gets engaged, he can get off. He just doesn't get off in a timely manner, which I'd like to see. So a lot of times what I often preach is don't let the media make the decisions for you. If the media is pumping hype into Devin Lloyd, why does the film say otherwise? You know what I mean? Like, I get that the athletic linebacker is a super popular thing. I mean, we had Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who I loved last year because he did everything else besides be athletic. He had good instincts. He was aggressive. He was a decent tackler. Yeah, he didn't have the size, but he was athletic enough and great enough in coverage and good enough in instincts to survive on the next level. He dropped because of, I believe, a health condition or an injury concern of some kind, not because of his size. But Lloyd is kind of like this, really just ball of, a lot of people refer to a developmental upside guy as a ball of clay. I refer to Lloyd as a ball of Play-Doh or a putty, because clay is easier to mold than putty. You can mold clay into something. Putty is harder to mold. It's tougher. It's going to take more finger, just pushing and being able to get it into the right place, if you get my metaphor here. Lloyd is that type of guy. Nakobe Dean's ready to go now. I don't care if he's 6 foot, and I don't care if he's 225. Look at his frame. Look at him on tape. He is the most complete linebacker in this draft class. And so this notion that Devin Lloyd is linebacker 1 or Christian Harris is linebacker 1, I think is quite frankly stupid. I didn't talk about Christian Harris this video, but he's not that much better than Devin Lloyd. If he's even worse, I think Devin Lloyd is a better linebacker than Christian Harris, but that's besides the point. The point is, the media is putting hype into these guys that I don't think anybody should buy. And if you watch the film and you see for yourself, or you watch this whole film session, which I thank you for watching the whole way, you should be able to see this pretty clearly. I tried to pick plays that I felt represented the prospects the best. I both watched 2 games on him to find the film and whatnot. So, I just don't understand this narrative being creative that Devin Lloyd is some top 10 pick. Do I think he can develop? Sure. I think he's super tentative. I think that's a great word to describe Devin Lloyd, is tentative. I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's as bad as I first thought he was. It's taken me a couple watches, but I figured it out. He's definitely not a terrible linebacker, but he's going to need development, and he's going to need to take time to learn to trust his reads and to trust himself to go make those plays. Nakobe Dean doesn't need to do that, and that is why I think Nakobe Dean is a top 10 pick or a top 15 pick and the best linebacker in the draft class. So this is a longer one, so if you bared with me, thank you. If you bared with me, make sure to comment down below whether you agree or not, and how you feel about Devin Lloyd and how you feel about Nakobe Dean. I'd be sure to appreciate that. Make sure to subscribe and share with the channel. We're going to be doing film sessions like this, and even shorter ones for those who can't sit through a 30-minute film session. I get it. We do shorter ones every week, so make sure to tune into those, and I appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.